My mom was 14 when she had me, so a child raising a child didn't really work. And I got put in the foster care system before I was a year old. And my introduction to Jesus was through my last two foster homes. My last one, it was a pastor and his wife, and I was with them for 6 months. And you know, they just instilled in me. You know, I was 5 years old when I left there, and they just instilled in me how much Jesus loved me and everything. Just all I remember about Jesus happened then. I went home to my mom's when I was 5 years old, and to be back with her, and she was still young, you know. But so at the age of 5, I began being molested by a family member, and throughout the course until I was 16, it was by 3 family members, 1 on her side and 2 on my stepdad's. Nobody asked to be an addict, but to cover up the pain. I was an alcoholic by the time I was 14. I was smoking marijuana by the time I was 13. Life was never good. And when I was 13 and I tried to tell my mom what had happened, you know, she didn't believe me. I always believed in God, but I was always angry with him because I thought he just hated me. Where were you in the middle of all this? And I never felt like I got an answer. So when I was about 9, I went to this big Methodist church one time, and I got to go for a couple of weeks. And every week the pastor would say, it was a really big church, you know. I didn't figure anybody noticed me, but every week the pastor would say, does anybody here want to be saved? You want to come to know the Lord and everything? And you know, with all of us with our heads bowed and everything, my hand would raise every week. And every week, you know, just we'd say the sinner's prayer, you know, and everything. And I was just wondering how come I wasn't saved. And that last time when I raised my hand, he says, you know, you only have to be saved one time. You don't have to, you know, keep raising your hand and keep on praying. You know, you're saved. And I didn't understand that because I still wasn't saved. I still had that life. And but I just knew something was different. I know that God was always with me now. Then I didn't. Then I was angry at God. I was very angry at God because I really thought that he had hated me. So I got married when I was 16 to get out of the house. And it was very short-lived. It lasted a year. I wasn't ready for that. And throughout my life, that's pretty much how it's been. My husband and I, my current husband, we moved to Florida in 2008. And we split up about 6 months after we got there. You know, we were together for 7 years, and we split up about 6 months after we got there. Our marriage was already failing. There was not even a thread left. I mean, there was nothing there. And we both went our separate ways, but we never divorced. And he ended up going to prison, being in the wrong place, the wrong time, on the wrong things. And I was living with another man. And I lived with him for 5 years, and he was extremely abusive, very abusive. And during those 5 years, I screamed at God. I mean, I don't know. It's by the grace of God that I'm sitting here before you today. But I screamed at God and asked him, where are you? You're supposed to be such a loving and caring God. Where are you? And I was so angry. I was just so angry. And, you know, and I know, I believed that somewhere deep inside me there was a purpose for everything, but when was it ever going to come? Or when was I ever going to see it? And he just kept telling me, I want to bless you, but I can't do it in this mess. You're not supposed to be here anyways. You know, you're still married and you're living with another man. It's not like he made those things happen. I put myself there. I knew that was wrong just in itself. But God, still, you know, that was a covenant made before him. But believe me, when we got married, we did not invite God into our marriage. It was nothing to do with God at all. My husband, the whole time he was in prison, he wrote to me and he told me that he was praying for me. While he was there, he found the Lord. He invited God into his life in a big way. And my mom and my sister, who had never went to church, we never spoke of God in our house, never, because my stepdad growing up didn't believe, so it was just not something talked about. And they both kept telling me that they were praying for me, and I was still in Florida, and my mom and my sister were here in Tennessee, and they just kept saying, "We're praying for you, Melody," And my mom would always be going, "Look at this verse, look at this verse and stuff." And she's married now to a man who started taking her to church, who introduced her to God, And she just kept telling me, "We're all praying for you, And that was amazing to me, the three most important people in my life, and for them to all be telling me this. And so when my husband got out of prison, he came back here to Tennessee, not to be around his family. He doesn't have family here. He came here to be around my family. He knew I'd eventually come home. And he didn't give up. And that had to be God getting a hold of him while he was in prison, why he didn't give up. But, and I kept asking God to get me out of Florida, get me out of that mess, and he kept getting me out of that mess, and I kept coming back here, and I'd leave right back out again. I'd let the devil get to me, and I'd leave right back out again, and I'd go right back to Florida, every single time. I don't even know how many times I did that. I was really messed up on drugs. We lost custody of our daughter, of my niece who we were raising and everything, and that was a major downhill for me. I felt like my life was over, and I went deeper down into depression. I mean, I didn't leave the bedroom for 2 years. I stayed so messed up on drugs, I didn't know which end was up or what day was what. And I begged God to let me die. I begged him, just let me die, let me go. And at the same time, I'm hearing them, they're praying for me and everything. And so I realized God's not going to let me die. And after a few years, I'm just like, if you're not going to let me die, at least, when I do this, just get me so sick, I just don't want to do it no more. Like, I can't do it no more. I'm not strong enough to do it on my own. I'm not. I've lived every day for 5 years like this. I can't do it on my own. And finally, about the third time, I got sick as a dog. I'm over the toilet, throwing up just really bad. And I'm like, what in the world is going on? And all of a sudden, I realized I asked for this. This is what I asked for. I got on my knees and I prayed, Lord, please don't just get me out of here, but give me the strength to stay gone. Just give me what, I don't know what you have in store for me, but I want it. I need it. I can't live this no more. I can't do this anymore. And I just give him my life right there on the floor next to the bed, right there in the bedroom. Just give it to him. It's not mine. I can't do it no more. My sister had got me a bus ticket back here. And Valentine's Day 2014, I got on a Greyhound bus and I come home. And I'd been here for a few weeks, and the guy that I was with down there, he had sent me the money to come back on and everything. And I told my husband I was going back. And I tell you, the day came when I was supposed to leave out, and I couldn't do it. I knew I wasn't supposed to do it. I just knew I wasn't. I felt like my heart would be hard, and I just couldn't do it. And I took my Bible and I walked up to the church that I was going to with my husband at the time, and just crying, talking to God. I didn't know what to do, and it's like the little devil on one shoulder and the little angel on the other, and it's like fighting. It's real warfare. Spiritual warfare is a real thing, and God prevails every time. I sent that guy back the money and told him I wasn't coming back. And March 30th, I was baptized. And the most amazing day. I had such a potty mouth, a really bad mouth. I had things in me, junk. And oh gosh, that day, it was so cold out. The water was cold, it was high, it was rushing, and it didn't even matter because I gave my life to God, and it did not even matter. My husband told me and everyone else that day, he said, I prayed for her for several years, to come home. And he said, God finally told me I was praying wrong, I started praying for her to find Jesus, to get Jesus in her life. And 2 weeks later, I come home and I stayed. That's the power of God. Oh, my gosh. Amazing. And, when I came home, my husband, he lived in this rickety old trailer. nothing for material things or anything like that. It wasn't no big cushy whatever, you know. It was home, and I felt loved. As soon as I walked in the door of that place, I just felt like I was really home. I felt like, you know, I was where I was supposed to be. And my husband, you know, he's watching him live it before me, though, in the Word, you know, constantly in the Word. And just watching him, you know, it made a huge difference in my life. And when I started getting into the Word for myself and the teaching that I was sitting under, it was really amazing. And I got a hold of God's healing power. And God has done some amazing things in my life. He has restored my relationship. He has helped me to forgive when the very exact moment that God put forgiveness in my heart and mercy for those who had hurt me so deeply. I truly felt the chains, all those chains just fall from me. I felt my shoulders just get lighter, and I could stand up a little taller. And I knew it was God working. I just knew it was. He has given me a love that I've never had. I've just never experienced. He's restored my marriage to a place it's never been, and I never could have imagined it would ever be. I keep a song in my heart for all that the Lord has done for me. The niece I lost custody of is at my house right now. God has restored all my family relationships to just a place they've never been. I've not seen my daughter yet. My husband has. She turned 12 the other day. But I know that's on its way as well. I know it is. I have faith in God. I know He works miracles. I've seen Him. He's worked so many in my life today. He's blessed us beyond measure, beyond anything we could ever ask for.